Okay, so here we go. The one thing I like to do is after I get this cut out fairly close to where I want it, I double check the fit with the can, but I also use the edge of the can and go around, work it around like this to force the cut tin down to face down in. So that way when you drop this down in after you get it made, it fits snug, but it also grabs hold of it. Now in the next step, we're going to need both cans, because what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to measure up to this first ring right there, or maybe the second ring, and see where that's at. Now that's about an inch off the table and about an inch above the can, which is perfect for this. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a tape measure or a ruler and measure about 1.5 inches up, and then we're going to mark out 8 spots to make our lines, and we're also going to take our drill bit and punch in a bunch of small aeration holes in the bottom of the tin with it. And then I'll show you the next step after that. Okay, so at this point there is no rhyme or reason to how I've drilled my holes. You just want to make sure you have enough of them that the fire can breathe well from underneath it. Alright, and as you can see on the side of the can, I've marked to the third ring down, which is about 1.5 inches from here to here, from the top of the can here where the holes are at now to here. And then I've marked 8 lines across it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Dremel and cut down from this line down just to the before the ring, about 1/8 to 1/4 inch, no, probably not even 1/4 inch, probably 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch from the middle part of that line. These are going to form the legs that will rest the can up in the air and allow it to support the pot that you set on it to cook with. So as soon as I get that done, I'll be back. Okay, so using my Dremel tool with a cutoff wheel, I've used the lines that I made as a guide, but I just kind of eyeballed it and cut lines going down this way, one down each side of it, and then I cut this way into the can to release the tabs that I created here, so that I can, after I get it inserted into the can, I can bend them down to towards the bottom, and then those will hook into the lid of the can right here along this ring. The legs will hook into the can right here, so that it will act as a support stand holding the bottom of the can up about 1 inch from the bottom. Okay, so now the next step after this is going to be on this side of the can, and you can see here that I've marked down where it's going to be below the top of the can here when it's inserted. I'm going to drill 8 holes, 1/4 inch in diameter, around the can perimeter of the can here to create the rebreather holes for the wood gases to be able to enter back into the can and combust again to create a clean burning system. And then after I get done with these 1/4 inch holes, I'm going to drill another 8 holes across the top here. That's going to make the top right here, as you see in this finished one. That's going to make these holes eventually that'll open up to about 1/2 inch in diameter, so that when the wood is burning inside and you have a stove and you have a pot on top, these holes will allow the stove to continue breathing and burning, but with the pot on top, it will also choke the fire down just a little bit, so that it takes a little longer to consume the fuel, but at the same time it's still cooking your food. Alright, and then as soon as I get those holes done, I will be back again, and I will show you how the final step in putting it all together. Okay, so now that that's done, there is no rhyme or reason to this. I just spaced these out fairly even with these, where I cut these for the rebreathing holes that go underneath. And then I personally, as a personal preference, like to offset these holes from these ones, just as a personal preference type of thing. There is no rhyme or reason to it. It's just something that I prefer to do myself personally. So, but anyways, these holes will allow the gas, since it'll be sitting underneath the top of this can, will allow the gas to come back into the stove that is given off by the wood, and it will reburn in the stove, keeping the fuel hot as well as helping it to burn more efficiently. The nice thing about these stoves is that once they get going and get up to temperature, there is very little smoke involved with them. The thing about these holes here is this just allows the fire inside the can here to breathe as it is being somewhat smothered by the pot right here. So it allows it to allow the air to come through the can and exit out the top of the can underneath the pot, which allows it to heat your pot. The little tabs here, these will become the legs. I like to line them up in between these holes that I drilled when I put it together. So this is all ready to go together now, so let's get it together. Okay, so all you do is, now that you've got the upper can prepared and the lower can prepared, is you just carefully work this can into the hole that you made, just like that. And as you can see, this will drop down underneath. Now, if I was to go down all the way, I would bottom out the can, which is okay for right now, because what we're going to do is we're going to carefully take this can, and those little legs that we put out, I don't know if you can see it here or not, those little legs that we put out here are going to then come out, and you can pull it all the way down if you want to. This is the way I do it, because this is what helps me out. I'll line it up with these holes for right now, just until I get these bent out. So you just reach in with your hand, carefully making sure that you don't cut yourself. Carefully start bending these tabs out so that you can get them bent past the inside of the can here and down. Okay. Oh, there we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully bend these tabs all the way down, and you can work this can to one side to help you with this process so that everything clears. Okay, if it bends just a little bit, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't panic. You're not ruining it. I like to bend these straight down at first. Okay, it looks like I've got 2 more to go here. Okay, so with all 8 of them bent down like that, push the can carefully back up into place, just like that. And as you can see, those legs support it pretty well. Now, here comes the fun part, and that's taking these tabs and pushing them out to the outer wall. So that way, when you push the can down, okay, I got to pull it out of the frame for a second here. Okay, one last tip, because essentially the stove is all together now. What I like to do is, this is nothing more than just a cheap chopstick that you get with Chinese takeout. I like to take this, and from the inside of the can, I'll go down it and help seat the can, this area around the ring, to the can so that it marries up nice. And then you just kind of take it and work your way around carefully, pushing it down to help push where you pushed it in back out just a little bit into the can so that it seals it up. That's essentially it. Put your coffee can lid back on the bottom there. You've got your stovetop lid, and that's solid. So that's essentially it. Thank you very much for watching. Please use caution and proper safety measures whenever you're putting this together, because you are working with tin. It is very sharp, and I don't wish to see anybody getting hurt. But this is a simple project that's a lot of fun to do. One of these, from start to finish, once you have all your materials prepared and ready to go, roughly takes you about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, an hour if you're skilled. Anyways, thank you very much, and you have a great day now.